Well, we've got a very special episode of the Proof of Coverage podcast today in Mombasa, Kenya, here at a beach resort, talking to the founder of DeCharge. So I'm curious, what convinced you to come all the way to Kenya, from India?
So we were very curious, and we're always looking to explore and expand to emerging markets. And we did feel that after doing a lot of research, we did understand that Kenya has a fantastic ecosystem, a thriving ecosystem. Again, around gig economies, and electric is just really getting started and taking off. So we really felt that we should be here to explore and start deploying here in Kenya, and especially in Nairobi and Mombasa. So yeah, that's what motivated us to be here. Plus, of course, the amazing summit, the DePIN Summit hosted by EV3. Shout out to EV3 for inviting us here, and everybody else. Yeah, that's why we're here.
Cool. So no footprint here yet, but you're exploring kind of the African continent and also Kenya and Tanzania, I guess, as well.
Yes. Cool. So we don't have a footprint yet, but we've been doing background research on this for many months now. And we do have some local partners that we're working with. This was an opportunity for us to also meet with them and to understand the dynamics, go visit some partners with them, see where we can deploy, understand the local market dynamics, understand how the last mile supply chain logistics works in this, trying to get some on-ground deployment partnerships with gig economy companies. That's what's been happening, and it's been very fast. I've been here for 3 days, and a lot has happened in 3 days.
Maybe zooming out a bit, what's wrong with the EV charging industry today, or what could be improved, and what specifically are you guys doing to address those problems?
Yeah, so on a global level, the problem with the EV industry is that it's fragmented, it is centralized, and it is really broken. So if you take an example of, let's say, Tesla, it's very centralized to the company, and they have a very good ecosystem for their vehicles. But if you look at a non-Tesla ecosystem, there is it's a disaster. It's very tough. People install 20 different mobile apps. They have X, Y, Z. They have to go and find charging stations. Sometimes they're not even up and running. Sometimes they're broken. The thing is, because it's a centralized deployment, it is always limited by the function of capital or geography. So centralized companies can only grow so fast as the capital that they raise allows them to. Beyond that, so some companies might be good at raising capital, so they might raise 100, 200 million, 500 million. But they will have a challenge of changing geographies, because every time they go to a different geography, I'm talking about, let's say we are able to deploy fast in Kenya, but it won't be the case for others. They have to find a local partner, they have to lease land and do all of that, right? So when you look at these problems in a centralized ecosystem of charging infrastructure, it makes it very tough to scale. If you take the mobility as an industry, right now it's currently majorly running on fuel, although it's rapidly changing to electric. It has taken 40 or 45 years to reach the level of fuel station adoption as it is today, like the availability of fuel stations, gas stations. But electric does not have that long. We cannot take 40 years to have that level of spread. It has to spread really fast. Now, to enable that, you cannot have centralized structures. And gatekeeping will be a big no-no, because it's going to just kind of like break the whole system. So that is where decentralization comes in. And that's where communities being involved in the aspect of providing charging infrastructure to A, boost their own communities with more revenue, and B, provide reliable charging infrastructure to the entire ecosystem is where the win is. And this is probably the perfect definition of DePIN, right? And DePIN and crypto working together. It's perfect.
Definitely. So how is DeCharge basically motivating people or coordinating them together to, I guess, one, decrease the fragmentation in the EV charging industry, and then maybe two, also lower cost or increase access to electric vehicle charging?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. So if you take a step back and imagine if we had an opportunity to invest in a fuel station or a gas station about 40 years ago, right? And when there was a point when people thought, okay, why would anyone have cars, right? I mean, and then people would never, there were some people who were forward thinking, who went and set up these gas station companies, and now they're probably like multi-billionaires, right? We are at the cusp of another cycle, another revolution, which is very similar to that, but it won't be centralized. It cannot be centralized. So this is where we motivate people to come in and say, look, Okay, let's break this down into a very big opportunity statement. If you take a traditional fuel company today, it could be anything: Shell, British Petroleum, ExxonMobil. They earn, let's say, $100 million in one country every day, or you could even say, let's say, they have $100 million across the world every day. That's their revenue. I'm just giving an example. It might not be the right number. Now, even if we take it as $100 million in a month, let's say, people will not stop moving. If this changes to electric, when we have the electric revolution, people will not stop moving. They'll have to travel. The aspect of mobility always exists, but it will be replaced by fuel stations and to an extent by electric. So a big chunk of that 100 million on a monthly basis is available on the table to be distributed to the other ecosystem stakeholders of electric. Now, this can go two ways. Either a centralized electric company that has the gatekeeping and does the same thing and has a very tough time scaling because of the limitations that they have.
Yeah.
Or have a DeCharge model where it's DePIN and the community owns it. You have 500 people owning 5,000 charges, and the same money or a chunk of that money goes into their pockets. So you're enriching the participants of the community because that money is on the table, right? Let's say fuel costs 100, maybe electric might cost 1/10 of it. So it's still $10 million that's on the table that can go into communities, that can go into enriching communities or participants. That's where the bigger motivation lies. And for us, we provide a wide range of options to people so they don't have to buy our hardware. Although getting our hardware makes it much easier for them to onboard onto the protocol and just serve easily. They could get any off-the-shelf OCPP compliant hardware and hook onto the network and start servicing people. So we don't want to add anything that is gatekeeping. We don't want to add anything that's a barrier to entry into this. Anyone, anywhere, whether it's a shopkeeper, whether it's, a fleet rider or a delivery boy in India or a gig economy worker in the US or a shopkeeper in Nairobi, everyone should be able to just get a charger and start participating in the economy. That's how we are bringing it.
Gotcha. So you can bring your own device in terms of like if you already have an electric vehicle charger, make it available to the public, connect it to the DeCharge network, and then you can also purchase electric vehicle chargers from you guys directly?
Yes, both. So if you already have an EV charger and if it is, as long as it is OCPP compliant 1.6, you can just configure it to be on the DeCharge network and we start sending traffic. So the idle time of your charger is what is getting monetized. So let's say if someone's having the charging their vehicle all night, but they're at the office all day, they could open it up to somebody else to kind of just come and charge, and that could monetize because their electricity costs are reimbursed and everything else on top of that is profit. It's like Airbnb in your parking spot. Should look at it that way.
100%. Sharing economy 2.0.
Share economy.
Stephen, yeah. Okay, so I know you're in the points program kind of phase right now, have not launched a token yet. Give us maybe a quick overview of the state of the network in terms of like, what's the supply side look like? How many electric vehicle chargers are part of the network? And then have you started monetizing it all on the demand side yet? And if so, like any numbers you could share or like maybe not use cases because it's charging obviously, but use big customers or anything like that.
So we focus heavily on B2B partnership.
Yeah.
That is what is done by the foundation, by DeCharge team itself. But other than that, we are seeing a lot of private users who are coming onto the platform, onto DeCharge and using it. Also because on the tech front, what we did is we eliminated the need completely for someone to download an app. If you look at the current EV infra, there's like 30, 40 apps that people have to download and they have to change. Like, it's ridiculous. And what we did is we made it WIN-based charging. You can just do it on the browser. We don't have to download an app. Cool. You just go and scan and start. And even now we're introducing something where users can start charging using WhatsApp messages. So we're bringing this kind of innovation. So what this is bringing to us is a lot of prosperity as well. Few months ago, we were doing about 20 to 25 sales roughly every month. Now we are scaled to about 55 sales every day. So we've scaled
sales
really
of
fast.
electric vehicle chargers?
Electric chargers, yeah.
A lot per day.
That's a lot.
100 a month
Yeah.
or more.
Yes. We want to reach a target of 25,000 charging stations across the world by next year, by March next year. So we are working really fast to get there. And we've also opened up 2 models where we're helping the customers finance them so that they can buy it, we get the money, and then they get the charger. Or so in some cases where we see a lot of demand, we're even doing an operational model where we are putting the charger there, and then we take a bigger chunk of revenue share instead of them. So they're all working great. And in terms of rewards, the hosts are actually incentivizing their ecosystems to come charge because they're getting more revenues out of it. So we're seeing a very positive upside to this, and the adoption is actually growing fast. We also moved very smoothly into the Beast 7 kilowatt and the 30 kilowatt charging. Up to 7 kilowatt is slow charging, so we've really done a great job there. And we are going to get to about 2,000 charging stations of Beast chargers by October. And we also started doing fast chargers. We're doing 30 kilowatt, 60 kilowatt, 120 kilowatt, which can really power like cars in a matter of hours. And in terms of utilization itself, we now have about 650 plus deployments. And our installations right now, our ops is kind of working to recalibrate themselves to keep up with the sales that we're doing, so that we can. It's a good problem to have. That's what we're working on right now. And in terms of EV vehicles, we have over 40,000 plus users in their vehicles that are on the platform.
Can you share anything about when you're thinking about mainnet launch, token launch, and also what blockchain you're thinking about launching on?
Solana, definitely. So that's the answer that is a no-brainer for us. We are part of Colosseum, so incubated and built solely on Solana. So definitely here. And in terms of, before, actually the important point that I want to make here is that we are a very demand-based product. So we are not building it for supply first. We're building it for demand first. So it's usually for DePIN projects it's tough because they end up building for a lot of supply and then assume that the demand comes, so that they build the demand. But for us, what we're doing is from the get-go, we're trying to build a very strong demand layer so that we know that people are paying for it. And then we know the participants who are coming into the ecosystem are getting paid for it, so that it's organically growing the ecosystem. And what we want to do is, by the time we do the token launch, we want to have like a very strong network of about at least 10,000 charging stations across the world. 5,000 is what ideally is a great number to do before a token, but I'm aiming slightly higher. If we reach 10,000, fantastic. If not 5,000, great. So ideally, we're hoping this would be around Q2 of next year or before, just around that time. So we're getting all of that aspects in place, and we're also looking at things where we have the opportunity to present in the US as not a security. So that because we're deep in, we're having very interesting conversations with regulators and lawmakers and working very hard with legal teams to structure it in a way where we may have the opportunity to be in the no action task list, which will make sure that the government says, okay, you're not a security, you're not. And that gives us a lot of confidence that our ecosystem can participate in the token economy without having to worry if it's a security or not. So as founder and CEO, I'm trying to make sure that all of these places, all of these bits and pieces are in place. The regulation, the compliance, the strategy, the access, and the quality. So that's where we are. And also a little bit of innovation front. I don't know if you've seen it, but we've announced a robotic charging infra for self-driving cars as well. So
cool.
We're trying to get these in place before we launch. So yeah, some big partnerships in the US and stuff like that. So really, really exciting times.
Yeah, so speaking of Solana, like imagine Colosseum wasn't a thing and you had to make the decision again today, just like blank slate. What would be going through your mind when you're thinking about which blockchain to choose, and what about Solana is like appealing to you and DeCharge?
Yeah, so even if it's a blank slate. In fact, today, this morning, I was talking to somebody, and we were talking about different blockchains, and I straight up told them that Solana is probably the best ecosystem to start a project right now. Basically, because it has a fantastic community, the tech is solid, the founders and the entire team, like everybody in the ecosystem is really helpful. They all want to grow together, so it's like a very prosperous circular economy. Getting into Solana is like getting into like a successful viral loop. You get into success, you go to the next step, somebody else helps you there. It's about unlocking something bigger with every meeting that you have. I've looked at other ecosystems also very closely, and I don't think they're mature enough to have this kind of support yet. Yes, of course, Ethereum is there and Bitcoin, they're different. But for the culture at Solana itself, I think, is unique. It's very unique to Solana. It has a very strong character where it encourages innovation. It encourages there's a certain level of risk taking ability. The funds that are the Web3 funds that are there on this ecosystem are of a different temperament. They're okay to experiment. And for DePIN companies, I think Solana is the place to be, because I don't know any other blockchain that has successful DePIN projects. On Solana, you have Helium, you have Hyperwrapper, you have Geonet, you have so many good DePIN projects, which are all successful, right? I mean, I can't name all of them, but there's so many of them.
Definitely, yeah. And then last question would be for our listeners, where would you want to direct them to on the internet to learn more, get involved with what you're building?
I would definitely guide you towards our Twitter, DeCharge __. And our website also has a lot of information, but we keep our Twitters updated with everything that we're doing. So it's a great place to learn what we're doing. Our campaigns are there, our sales discounts are there, our performance metrics are there. Everything we do is very transparent. There's nothing that we hide. So I would definitely request you guys go follow DeCharge on Twitter, follow me on Twitter, and just follow the journey and see where we go.
100%. Well, thanks for joining me here today.
Thanks for having me.